Most people remember the Titanic the same way. A ship hits an iceberg. People panic. Everyone rushes for the lifeboats. But that's not what happened. Because when the first lifeboats left the Titanic, some of them weren't even half full. Not because there weren't enough people, but because people didn't want to get in. April 14th, 1912, just before midnight, the Titanic strikes an iceberg. There's no explosion, no dramatic crash, just a long, slow scrape. Passengers feel it. They step into the corridors. They ask questions. But no one is running. No one is screaming. Because it doesn't feel like disaster. It feels small.
It was chaotic at the end.
What was happening?
Well, everybody was crying, praying, trying to get into the few lifeboats that were left. No, it was pretty sad at the end.
People gather on deck. They look around. They wait. The lights are still on. The ship is still steady. The band will soon begin to play. And most importantly, the crew are not panicking. When lifeboats are prepared, the officers don't shout. They reassure. Passengers are told, "It's only a precaution." Second Officer Lightoller would later admit, when people asked if the situation was serious, he told them, no. Others were told they would be back for breakfast. At around 12:40 a.m., the first lifeboat is lowered. Lifeboat 7. Capacity, 65 people. Number of people inside, around 28. There are still people standing on the deck, watching it go. Imagine this. You are standing on the largest ship in the world. It's warm, it's bright, it feels safe. And someone is asking you to step into a small wooden boat and be lowered into the freezing black ocean in the middle of the night. Which one feels safer? For many people, the answer was not the lifeboat. Crewman Charles Jockin later testified that while loading one of the boats, women actually ran away, saying they were safer where they were. Second-class passenger Maud Sincock remembered people walking up to the lifeboats, looking down at the ocean, and then stepping back, saying they were safer on the big ship. They were wrong.
I managed my way to get over to the side of the ship, and they were filling boats already then. There was a lot of people there that they were going to get in the boat, and then they changed their mind. They said they'd be safer on the big boat, and they wouldn't get in those little boats. That boat got lowered down, and I didn't get in it, so I just moved my way along the railing, and I got in the next boat. And there were still people there that wouldn't go in the boat.
First-class passenger Alfred Omont jumped into a lifeboat, and people shouted at him not to go. Why? Because they had such confidence in the ship. Confidence kept them there. Some people didn't hesitate because of fear. They hesitated because of love. Crewman Frank Prentice recalled trying to get a woman, Virginia Clark, into a lifeboat. She resisted. "I don't want to leave my husband." So he told her, "It's just a precaution. He'll follow later." He wouldn't.
I met a young couple, and I will tell you her name. It was Mrs. Clark. They'd spent their honeymoon in France, and we'd picked them up at Cherbourg. And she was having trouble with her lifeboat. So I fixed that on to her, and I said, "I think you'd better get into a lifeboat." And there was one on the port side. So she said, "No, I don't want to go there. I don't want to leave my husband." So I said, "Well, it's just a precautionary measure. You get in, your husband will follow later on." And I got her away, and that was that. And then I picked up my own lifeboat and put it on.
Even people already inside the lifeboats didn't fully understand. Alice Cleaver later said, "We never for a moment thought there was any danger. And even after being lowered," she said, "we thought it was just a precaution." Others were told they'd be coming back for breakfast. Lifeboat 5 left with about 40 people. Lifeboat 6 only about 24. And then, Lifeboat 1. Capacity, 40. People inside, 12. Seats, empty, while hundreds remained on board. There were men who walked their wives to the boats, helped them in, held their hands, and then stepped back. Not because they were forced, because they believed they should. One man, John Jacob Astor, helped his pregnant wife into a boat and asked if he could join her. He was refused. So instead, he asked for the boat number so he could find her later. Some people made a different decision. Not survival, but togetherness. Ida Strauss refused to leave her husband. She chose to stay, even when there was still space. And then, the ship begins to tilt. The bow sinks lower. The cold grows sharper, and suddenly, people understand. This is not a precaution. This is real. This is the moment. The exact moment when denial disappears and reality takes its place. And for many people, that moment came too late. By the time panic fully sets in, many lifeboats are already gone. Others, left half empty, seats that could have been filled, are now drifting away into the darkness. The official investigation will later conclude that nearly 500 people could have been saved, but weren't. Not because they couldn't escape, but because they didn't believe they had to. The hidden story of the Titanic is not just who survived, but who had a chance and didn't take it, because they believed there was more time, because they believed the ship was safer, because they believed everything would be fine. It wasn't. And that is why some of the first lifeboats left the Titanic half empty.